Okay, ready to roll. So welcome, Judymay, to our special interview today on behalf of the Yes Group Bristol. A big welcome. First of all, if you haven't heard of the Yes Group Bristol, or you haven't heard of Yes Group, the Yes Group is the UK's foremost personal development community. We host events all over the UK and further afield. I'm Dan Gregory. I'm the leader of the Yes Group in Bristol, where I'm delighted to be hosting Judymay Murphy this month for a very special event. Despite all that's going on in the world, the show must go on. We've gone from our live event in person in a hotel in Bristol now to an online event, which means that if you are watching this and you're not based in Bristol, you can be based in Brisbane or Rio de Janeiro or London. You're welcome to join us. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Our mission is to inspire people to form lifelong connections, meet great people, empower themselves to live a fully empowered life. So it's a great opportunity for you to tune in and learn more about Judymay and what we're going to be speaking about this month. So Judymay, a big welcome from us.
Oh, thanks so much for hosting me. I appreciate it. It's been a little while since I was at Yes Group Bristol, but I do remember it. It was about 3 or 4 years ago, and we just had the best time. We absolutely just knocked it out of the park. So I'm very excited for this month.
Awesome. And it is, I have been told by the former chair that you hold the current record for the largest audience to date. So let's see if we can break your own record this month by extending our invite beyond Bristol. So a big welcome. So first of all, for those people who may or may not be familiar with you, would you mind just sharing a little bit about who you are and your work and what you do in general?
So my first name is Judymay. My last name is Murphy. I always have to explain that to people. And I am a motivational speaker and success coach. What I do is I take people from wherever they're at to the absolute pinnacle, to the absolute dream come true. So people who've never been on TV before, and within a year we get them having their own show on a national station. People who are believing that they'll never be married, and within a year or less they have met that person of their dreams and they're starting to prepare to spend an amazing life together. People who want to be authors and haven't ever put pen to paper, or maybe they're dyslexic, and we get them to what feels like the impossible. So I'm the dream come true lady when it comes to the big impossible stuff. I've been doing it for 20 years. I go on TV and radio all around the world. I've got 8 books published in 28 countries now at this point, a whole bunch of different languages with really great publishers. And I walk my talk. So I make my life extraordinary just to show people that they can do that too. And I'm not one of these naturally like really strong, feisty people. I've had to become that. I've had to condition it from places of depression and places of helplessness and, feeling much less than most people. And now I'm in a place in my life 20 years on where my life is extraordinary, and I get to help people to get to that place as well.
Awesome. And, I'm really great. It's really great that you shared that, because we know this industry, the personal development industry, the coaching industry is booming. There's a lot of people entering the market as practitioners or coaches. But you and I met for the first time when you spoke at an event in London, I think in about 2009, 2010. And you gave a really great presentation then. It was one of Dan Bradbury's conferences, one of the legendary conferences from back in the day. So I think it's really important for them to know that, we're talking to someone here who is one of the most experienced coaches on the planet, 20 years experience here, real great results, but really doing.
And also a lot of the people that you see on the big stages, I'm their coach, whether it's I'm their content coach or their personal coach. So just so you know that what I love doing is the creative thinking and passing that on. So I'm more of a creative thinker than a performer, although there is a performance element, of course, in what all us speakers do.
Awesome. So what happened 20 years ago? I'm curious, 20 years ago, what led you to following this path? What helped you make that decision? What created that point in time for you?
Adversity. So I was doing pretty well on paper in that I already had a couple of college degrees. I was writing and performing in Ireland for our national television station. I was actually writing and performing for the biggest show at the time. It was like a comedy show called Bull Island. We were winning all these awards. And I still wasn't happy. I still knew that there was a big piece missing, and I had done all kinds of things. I had been a novelist. I had run my own theatre company. I just couldn't quite find it. And then as soon as I knew that self-help was a thing, and I saw someone, you know, teaching from the stage, I was like, that's it. That's it. I've always been an adventurer. At this point, I've been to over 50 different countries, adventured and lived in those countries in depth. And I knew that I wanted to do something that wouldn't tie me to one place, but I also didn't like the sort of the flashiness of showbiz. I wanted to go deep. I wanted to be able to really explore inside as well as the outside world. And as soon as I knew about speaking and coaching, I said, that's it, that's for me. And I do it day and night. I'm one of the few speakers that actually coaches all day as well. So I'll go and do a talk at night somewhere in the world, whether that's, you know, Dubai or Brisbane or New York or somewhere. And then I will get up the next morning and I'll be coaching from early. And I think that that gives me a certain insight into the realities of what people are going through. Like right now, the reality is that even though people have a great mindset, particularly people who are used to being around Yes Group Bristol, have an amazing mindset, there's still like this creeping little gut clench that's happening for people. And, you know, how is it that we can, you know, rather than just go through this, how can we grow through this? How can we make sure that we come out the other end of this even stronger and happier? Because right now, people, as you know, Dan, people are saying to themselves, wow, I wish I'd become financially free earlier. I wouldn't be so nervous right now. Or I wish I had got myself to absolute peak physical condition. So let's make sure that there's nothing we can do about what we didn't do in the past. But let's make sure that in 6 weeks' time, 2 months' time, where things are going to start to reconcile, we're going to have more certainty, things are going to start to get back on track. Let's make sure that we are not looking back at this time saying, I wish I had applied myself more. I wish I hadn't just, you know, sat around watching endless movies and drinking beer. I wish I had done this specific thing so that we can grow through this together.
Brilliant. So I guess in the context of what we're going to be talking about at your presentation with us, you know, we're going to be talking about how to turn your brilliance into business, or how to turn your brilliance into actual money, you know, how to monetize you.
So, yeah, and so that's on the 31st of March, right? What day is that? Is that a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
It's a Tuesday, yeah, it's a Tuesday night. Yeah.
Tuesday, right. Tuesday the 31st that evening. And I'm going to be doing something that I won't even tease it right now, because it is so specific, the different strategies, the different ways of thinking. And money makes you free, it makes you safe. Pretty much all your human needs, as Schindler taught them to us, your need for certainty, your need for variety, your need for connectedness, your need for uniqueness, your need for self-esteem, your need to grow. All those needs are much more easily met when you are financially free, when you have the money to do what you want to do. Right now, I'm in a hotel room, as you can probably see, and I love that. I love that freedom to, even though, you know, I am going to have to stay in this one place for a while, as most of us are, that I can do it with some degree of power, that I have some choices still. And that's what I want to give people. I want people to realize that the way that they were making money up until now, or the way they've been trying to make money up until now, there are certain just ways you can tweak your thinking, other places you can look at, other approaches that you can take, sometimes in parallel with what you're already doing, sometimes instead of, and sometimes as well as. Yeah. So just knowing what that is so vital, because otherwise you're almost making it all the time and you're getting enough results to stay doing that thing, but you're also exhausted and you're not making the big money. And there's no need to be working so hard and getting such small results. So we're going to start getting you bigger results. And this is the time to do it. This isn't the time to go smaller and pull back and say, oh, this is the time to say, right, I'm being called now to, there's a phrase that I absolutely love. And it says that the opposite of courage isn't cowardice. The opposite of courage is conventionalism. Mm-hmm. And so what we need to do is we need to say, okay, everybody else can just, like, you know, reassure themselves in the way and distract in the way they're going to distract. And there's nothing wrong with that. We've all got to just in these times just do what we need to do. However, I think the people who know, they feel that calling in themselves, and they have that understanding that we do need to grow a little bit more. We do need to just pull on those resources. We need to say, yeah, it doesn't feel like the time for going big and learning right now. It feels like a time for just distracting. It feels like, someone said recently, it feels like that bit between Christmas and New Year. But you know what? With my tribe that I work with all the time, the people who come to me for coaching, we always make December through to January 1st even stronger. Whereas everybody else kind of just goes on vacation. Same thing for summer. I'm just like, nah, this is the time where most people are not playing the game. You have zero competition between Christmas and New Year. You have zero competition in the summer, and people are still needing things. The world is still going on. It's just going on differently. People are having to think differently. Huge opportunity. So that's what I'm really excited to be sharing with everyone, is how can you actually strategize this opportunity as well as getting your mindset good around it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a time where people are looking at it thinking, I'm anxious about the current situation. How long is my money going to last? But they're also anxious, is now the right time to start? And I think you touched on a really great point. In fact, earlier today, I just shared an article which showed that actually some of the largest companies that exist right now were formed and started at the last recession. And, you know, we don't know that.
This isn't a recession. Yeah, this is like a dip. This is a sort of like, you know, the way if your internet goes down for 10 seconds and you go, oh my God, I have lost internet. I will never be online again. And you just do that. That's kind of what we're going through right now. It's all right. We're going to be back online very, very soon. So what do we do in that time? I think I got really good at a few years ago was not just using time well, but also using it in a way that was really good for me as a person, in a way that wasn't kind of like clenched and urgent and loud and pushy, but a way that was so gentle. And one of the things I specialize in coaching is people who are more gentle, people who aren't shouty and feisty and you know, and constantly like up at 6 a.m. yelling at something as they're hitting it. Like you see on those self-help videos. That's great if you're that, but I'm not that. So my question was always, how can I be completely me, very thoughtful, very loving, you know, just, I'm in my element right now. When I do see someone across the road, I'm just like saying, hey, my name's Judymay, how are you? Like to absolute strangers, and they're waving back. And an old lady yesterday just sort of said, oh, thank you, I haven't spoken to anyone in a few days. And we had a conversation across the road, and she had her dog with her and she had her mask on and she was worried. I was able to reassure her. At these times, we know from what Wayne Dyer used to teach us, that when you squeeze an orange juice comes out. So whatever is in you right now, that's what's going to come out. It might be a really good thing, and you can congratulate yourself and say, hey, you know what, that's awesome that that's in me, that ability to reassure, or that ability to stay calm, or that ability to make great decisions about my health and my finances and my life. And it might be coming up to be healed. So it might be like, right now, I am freaking out. Well, great, let's make this the last time where you have to go into that place. Let's make this the last time where your brain feels it needs to switch all the alarms on. Let's make it the last time that your brain has to work so hard to get your attention, that you're able to say, yeah, you know what? I've got this. I'm sorting it. Here's my plan, and I'm working my plan. This can be the most productive, the most healing, the most incredible experience so far in your life. And I'm not saying that as some kind of Pollyanna thing. Yes, things are tough. Yes, there's things that we need to look at. And how can we ride the upside of that relentlessly so we come out stronger, better, happier, healthier, richer? Let's just do that.
Absolutely. Now, there's a part of the talk title that I want to dive into, particularly because this notion of turning your brilliance into money, turning your brilliance into business. I think for a lot of people, and I went through this for a long time. It took me a long time to recognize my own brilliance, and especially in a time like this when anxiety and fear kind of fills the air. What would you say to someone who's thinking about coming to this? Because they're looking at course correcting potentially in terms of how can we move forward with greater prosperity, with greater ease, with greater financial well-being, but they're self-critical, they've got self-doubt, or they have an imposter syndrome that says, what is my brilliance and how do I find it? And is it really brilliant? So how do we get past that and recognize our own greatness?
So many of us have conditioned ourselves with this little mantra that's just constantly telling us that we're not okay, that there's something wrong with me. And we feel like we've got to find what that thing is, and we've got to just completely change it. As a client of mine said to me a few years ago, you know, I know that I can make money. I know that I can be financially free. I just have to change everything about me. Like she felt like she had to just become a completely different person. And that is not the case. And also when we feel about brilliance, we are trained to look at brilliance as being specific things. Again, as being like this over assertiveness, as being this, very unconscientious way of dealing with people. But then you look on the other side of it and you see people who are really making their lives extraordinary, like Amma, who they call the hugging saint. Her thing is she gives you a hug. I got a hug from Amma at a time in my life, like about 15 years ago, when I really, really needed it. She just gives damn good hugs. Like, that's her thing. And if she can turn that into an extraordinary thing, or whatever your thing is, we tend to just really, really think, well, if it's easy for me and it's fun for me, it mustn't be right, because there's something intrinsically not right about me. That's kind of just the way, when we're toxically shamed, if we're ignored as kids, if we're, the children of neglect or criticism or downright abuse, then we often have this kind of idea going on inside us all the time. So the first thing is to recognize that your thing is valid and it can be monetized. I have a really good friend, and he started out as a piano player. Right, so already as an artist, as a musician, he had a lot of people telling him that that wasn't okay. He became so well known as a piano player, and then if that wasn't marginal enough, he decided he was going to become a knitter. Right, actual knitting. Right, she's pretending she knows how to knit. So this is what he did, and already he's had 2 of his pieces in the summer exhibition at the Royal Academy, which in the world of art, which is kind of a world I'm at the edges of, in the world of art, that is one of the biggest things that you can do, is have one of your artworks in the Royal Academy in Piccadilly in their summer exhibition. And he's done that twice now, and he now has famous people coming to him. He knitted me a scarf. And I tell you, I don't keep it with the other stuff, because I know it's already worth so much money, this scarf that he knitted me, because he is now, he's owning that space. So I'm going to be teaching you how to identify your space, how to own it, how to monetize it. There's just so much that we're going to be doing. And the thing that's going to be most difficult once you understand this is feeling okay with how easy it is. Feeling okay with that, because we often feel that unless it's difficult, it's kind of not right somehow. We have a discomfort with things being comfortable. So that's going to be something that we can all look forward to, is being uncomfortable about being insanely comfortable in our lives.
Amazing. I think the other piece around talent, and you summed it up brilliantly, around people's ability to learn, but also once you move through those kind of inner barriers. But there's also, in my experience, when you come across talented people, when you have a level of expertise or knowledge that you've accumulated over time, you tend to take it for granted and actually fail to recognize your own understanding or expertise. So I think a lot of people who are thinking of attending to this are maybe thinking, well, what is my expertise? What is my talent? What is my knowledge? What am I actually great at? I think it's really important to come along, because now is a really great time where you can actually take that information, take that knowledge, take that talent, take those ideas, and really transform it into financial well-being and financial freedom. So let's talk about very briefly in terms of some of the monetization side. What are we going to be covering on the Tuesday night around the kind of turning the brilliance into money? What have we got to look forward to there?
Well, the first thing is that for me, money is actual money in the bank, like actual cash money in the bank. That's what I talk about when I say that we're going to get you more money. We're talking about that. We're not talking about an appreciation of what you already have. Yes, that's useful. We're not talking about potential money if the world changes in some way. We're not talking about maybe somewhere down the line. We're talking about things being immediate and you having that money in the bank. That is thing number one, because a lot of people in the self-help profession, they kind of like, they get people all excited and people are sort of like, okay, I can do this, I can do this. And then there's like this missing bit that isn't explained to them. It's like, well, but how exactly? And the bit I love about what I do is when people say to me, I'm missing this bit. And I say, this is exactly the phrase that you use. Write this down. And that's the same for if it's about making money, or if it's about distancing yourself or coping with a person who is narcissistically abusive, who is gaslighting you. Or if it's just something like, I know my product's great. I remember one client of mine, and I coach a lot of coaches and speakers, and she said to me, yeah, do you know what? I just need to change my product because it's not quite right. And we talked about her product. I said, you know what? There's nothing wrong with your product. It's in fact your marketing that you need to look at. It's the fact that not enough people know that your product exists, and those who do, they're not excited about it in the first second. So it's that we need to look at. And the thing that we often do when it comes to money is we look at the bit that we know how to fix. So I like to get really specific and say, let me help you create clarity about the bit that maybe you don't even know how to ask how to fix it. Like there's some stuff that is just such a blind spot for us. We just don't see this, and we're trying to fix all around here. And I can just bring you to there and say, this is it, and this is specifically what we do. Seeing as you don't have that in your brain yet, let me help you. Let me show you what others are doing. Let me show you exactly what you can say. Let me give you the tactics and the syntax of that, the order that it needs to go in. So what you can expect are things that are just really, really practical. And we're going to make sure as well that people can ask questions. And then I'm really open if people have extra questions that didn't get answered on the night because of the feeling it's going to be like we're going to just be doing so much stuff. I'm available. That's one thing that I'm known for, is if you just send me a little message, I'll say, hey, thanks for your question. Here's the quick answer, or there's a more comprehensive answer. Here's the book, here's the video, here's the training that you need. Free trainings on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Do you know what, Dan? I can't even remember what your question was.
You answered it. You absolutely answered it spot on. So the last thing I want to touch on before we wrap up is really, in the times of crisis like this, it really magnifies people's money mindset. And right now there's a whole discussion in the community specifically around coaching, consulting, speaking, people helpers, asking, is it right to charge people right now? It's becoming a real barrier. So I'd be really interested to share some of your thoughts on that to help people understand and make sense of that.
Let's look at value. So, is it right for do you expect to pay when you walk into a supermarket for that value, for that food? Yes, absolutely. Do you expect, if you were to go in and buy a coat, would you expect to pay for that coat? Yes, absolutely. So if people are saying that they shouldn't be charging people, there's a presumption there that just because money's tight for you is a presumption that it's tight for everybody, and that is not the case. It really isn't the case. There are plenty of people who are financially free, plenty of people who have their jobs and are getting paid as usual. So don't project your own challenges onto other people. There are plenty of people who are now wanting coaching, whereas they didn't before. They have different concerns. Their concerns aren't money, their concerns are health. Their concerns are, wow, I've suddenly realized that I am going to die one day, and I've been doing this job for years and it's not me. How can I start to do the thing I actually want to do? So I would say that you won't be able to do it in the same way, but if ever our answer to any calling, like this one right now, we're being called to go bigger, to become more. If the answer to any calling is to pull back, shrink, make yourself small, presume other people are playing smaller, you are kind of heading in the wrong direction. Now, at the same time, we want to make sure that we are taking care of the more vulnerable people. So if you do something like, okay, you have a really great newsletter, and that can go to the people who are concerned about money, but then the people who have plenty of money and they need something else, go to them, go and find those people. Because you're not going to help anybody by getting to a place where you yourself are concerned or needing other people's help. So stay open for that. Just ask yourself all the time, am I getting bigger right now? Am I growing? What's the presumption? And you can start to see a lot of what is in you coming out. So if your presumption is that money is difficult, that is going to be what's coming out right now. If your presumption is, I can always find a way, I can always make a way, that's going to come out. If your presumption is that everybody else is incapable of sorting their stuff and getting what they need, then you're going to be thinking that you have to rescue them. Yes, there are vulnerable people, and absolutely we make sure that no one slips through the net. Everyone is taken care of. Everyone has food. Everyone has a roof over their head, and everyone has big heart and big knowing that we're going to come through this, right? So we take care of that, and at the same time, we make sure that we are not using this as some kind of excuse to make ourselves smaller.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. That's really powerful. The last question I want to ask you before we finish now is, for people thinking about coming to this event, you know, if you've got a business, you're in business right now, to me, it's just mandatory. You need to be there. This is going to be one of the most powerful sessions you can take part in. If you're thinking of starting a business and you know that you've got a talent or expertise or idea that you would like to start putting into action, or you're in a job or you're in a career that's unfulfilling and you want to use this opportunity to shift your purpose, you need to be at the event. However, what about those people who are thinking, I'm not sure I want to go into business, I'm not sure if this is right for me? What would you say to those people who are watching this, considering coming, but they're not sure if it's the right talk for them?
Everything is business. Yeah, everything is business. Whenever it's because business is about giving value, bringing ideas forward, and helping people to grow, growing yourself. So everything that goes into having an incredible rocking business is also applicable to having the most incredible family, the most incredible spiritual life, the most incredible whatever. And it could just be that your brain is looking at the difficulties as you perceive them from where you sit right now, and you being there, you might be like, oh, actually the bit that I thought would be painful, the bit that I thought I wouldn't be able to do, the bit that I thought would be against my morals and values, in fact, it turns out that that is something I am completely aligned with. That's something I'm now excited about. That's something I now know that I can handle with ease. And so you might actually change your mind about what's possible for you business-wise or just in the world in general. So please come along. I really, really want you to be there.
Fantastic. So for those watching and listening to this, we are going to be going live with Judymay Murphy on the 31st, Tuesday, the 31st of March. Because of this unique time in history, we're going to be doing it online rather than in a physical space. So that means you can get to the event from your laptop, your desktop, your tablet, your mobile phone, from anywhere in the world, and join us for this special event.
You can host your own watch party, right? People can have their own little watch parties going on. They can, let's just see how far we can spread this information and just get this party absolutely rocking.
Absolutely. So from 7 p.m. UK time on the 31st of March, you'll be able to join us. You can get your ticket and register for the event now at bristol.yesgroup.org. That's bristol.yesgroup.org. You'll see all the information about the event. You'll find out more about Judymay Murphy, and you can register and sign up for your place for this incredible online experience we're going to be hosting on the 31st of March. So Judymay Murphy, thank you so much for being with us right now. I really appreciate that, and I really can't wait to see you again on the 31st of March.
Really looking forward to it. Cheers, Dan.